Yet again, the moon rules the sky. At whatever point there is a full moon, the moon resembles an electric lamp enlightening the earth. This time, the moon saw a fight where one fell after he won. A ridiculous blade dropped out of his hand. The man snatched his shoulder. He felt that the rival would hang on. He was at that point proposing to leave this spot of fight as he understood that he wouldn't leave this spot. Very much like that, pivoting, the champion saw that he was encircled. There were a ton of them. And they were all remaining in a battling position. The fighter asked what they were doing. One of them made sense of that. They had recently thought that he was solid yet didn't feel that he was areas of strength for, so they can't permit such an individual to remain at the head of 7 persuasive families. And what occurred here demonstrates that a fighter ought not be alive. Yet the hero asked that it was simply because of this that they chose to deceive him. Urim needn't bother with an expert, and all that will be concluded here. Yet the fighter thought of them as morons since he was never keen on power and so forth. Yet, by and by, he can't stand double-crossers, and the hero utilized the force of the magnificent thunder entryway. Close to the hero, a dazzling white tone started to gleam, and afterward lightning started to shimmer and pulsate on its own. The individuals who decided to sell out the champion started to present and began to safeguard from this power with an energy vault. The champion utilized energy lightning to make swords and let them into tricksters, and the swindlers scarcely held the energy safeguard. They comprehended that this couldn't be on the grounds that the folks could scarcely remain on their feet. The champion was turning out to be progressively furious. After all, now you get it for needing to kill him, and the sky is the limit from there. More started to send lightning. And thus the champion made progress and got through the dealer's energy safeguard. However, at that point something happened that the fighter could never have anticipated. From the way that the hero utilized an excess of solidarity, his body couldn't stand it. And the injury went from the sternum to different pieces of the body. The hero understood that this was his end. He was happy that he, at the end of the day, was leaving this world and without outside help. Lesions involved an ever-increasing number of parts of the body and as of now showed up on the neck and face. The hero fell first on one knee and afterward on the second, yet unexpectedly the Lord of Thunder showed up. Thus he said that he was planning to carry on with his 10th life, and the white energy mainstay of lightning started to convey him. The morning sun was sparkling overhead and fluffy mists were drifting. There was a 3-story house. A man and a lady were all the while dozing in one of the rooms. The bed comprised of a low sleeping cushion. The man in the fantasy started to perspire vigorously and yelled the word "no," and he awakened. Just the word "prepare" was heard in his mind. He awakened as though from a horrible dream, and he didn't have any idea, assuming that it was truly him. And he started to take a gander at his hands, and the lady, hearing Mr. Snout's cry, awakened. The man of honor didn't hear her. He was just reasoning that he had been renewed again. He begun thumping on the head, consequently attempting to recollect what year it is currently in. Overall, you really want to fail to remember this hogwash. The young lady didn't see what was befalling the refined man and was at that point beginning to get terrified. And right now, every one of the recollections of the person who involved the body surfaced to the recently reawakened fighter. In the champion's viewpoint, this person, man-made intelligence, was woeful, and just 30 years have passed since the champion's demise. Beforehand, the spans between lives arrived at about a century. The fighter got up and started to put on a robe, yet the lady was seeing her lord and she didn't hear a response from him. And it was extremely bizarre for a fighter that he was renewed so rapidly. And this all implies that those individuals who double-crossed him are as yet alive. They're still here, and this enraged the fighter. The young lady was watching him intently, and the champion had exclusively to recall about the backstabbers as he promptly capitulated to feelings. And this made the new body awkward. The young lady didn't sit tight for a response, asked once more assuming her lord was okay, and the fighter didn't focus on her. This time, the hero went to the mirror and started to look at his body. And he could have done without this body either. For a fighter, such a body was a shame because of the deficiency of command over the body. The primary concordance of the Simak was disturbed. Chimak is an energy meridian. We are discussing superb meridians through which Chi energy flows in a residing body. And this is a deadly and interior loss that can't be restored by the typical strategies for the aristocrats. With these reflections, the fighter broke the mirror. The young lady was confused because it was pricey, and she informed the respectable man about it. Yet the champion again didn't focus and kept on contemplating. As per the journals from the existence of the person where the champion found himself, he fell into sadness and started to suffocate in liquor, in ladies. And the young lady didn't have the foggiest idea about why the man of his word broke the mirror. Perhaps there was a marriage. The fighter on the floor saw the affirmation since there was an enormous number of void jugs lying around. But for a hero, it was an exceptionally sad reality of a person. He kept on tidying himself up, and the hero grasped that assuming he gave up now, it would be all around. The champion was extremely furious about how much this person had smashed because his head harms a ton. Wonzhou Province. The occupants of the Peck family, the hero went there. And many individuals quickly got his attention. They were undeniably shocked that Sakaju returned so ahead of schedule than expected, and overall, when was the last time he showed up here? And when the refined man entered, they started to welcome Mr. Sakaju in a bow. The fighter painstakingly analyzed the workers since there was scorn in their look. After all, it's not shocking, recalling what a debased way of life he drove. A pleasant young lady met him close to the house. So Ka gave her guidelines that he needed to be distant from everyone else for some time and that nobody ought to come to him today at all. The young lady bowed quietly, subsequently clarifying that she comprehended his request. Behind the shut entryway, the fighter was conversing with himself. And he said that today this hopeless reality reached a conclusion. After all, this is the 9th resurrection, Pakmagun. From here on out, he will recuperate this body. The Beekman firearm hero plunked down to think. After each of a champion beginnings another life from this second. And sooner or later, there was a shine in the heart region. It was a vivacious association of soul and body. He expects to utilize this procedure to call inward powers, and thus, he got it done. And presently, we want to deliver the principle obstructed comic. And if Pakmagun prevails with regards to liberating this channel, he will deal with the power. But something turned out badly, and Vaughn began draining from his mouth. He could never have envisioned at first that this channel was so twisted. Even with the smallest loss of fixation, the backlash impact areas of strength for are such an extent that it can kill him. The fighter didn't see what this person was doing. This time he attempted so frantically to become more grounded, and this is the outcome. And his intentions are clear since this is the 9th rebirth. There's compelling reason not to stress, since he had the option to get the 8th in shape. It stays just to get back to a condition of unlimited authority over feelings. And we really want somewhat more fixation. But at that point, there's a thump on the entryway. He declared in a boisterous voice that it was sibling Jock and requested to open the entryway. From this, Pakmagun couldn't think and fired hacking up blood. Yet, his sibling continued to request that he open the entryway. His sibling needs to meet him. Yet it's basically impossible that a fighter can meet him now.